Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Beauty Pop Podcast. This week, we're doing something very special. Jen and I are going to be talking about celebrity wine. It's a special wine episode, so there isn't really any beauty, although wine is beautiful to both of us.
And you look more beautiful the more wine you drink. So
correct.
It's wine goggles, which is why I always appreciate a good glass of wine.
I love some Chardonnay shades, some wine goggles. Yeah. Last November, right before Thanksgiving, you did an amazing pairing for the Thanksgiving meal. And I took all of your suggestions, used them to great success. And we got so much feedback from that episode that I was like, you know what? We've got to definitely do more wine stuff.
I'm super excited. We're going to do more. We'll do pairings. I've got to get settled in and really get serious about coming up with some good ideas for that. Because I think it is part of the lifestyle, like the whole lifestyle brand, right? Yes, we're talking about beauty and wellness and feeling good, but how fun is it, especially during the summer when we're coming into the summer months, to be able to entertain and to have an awesome wine pairing with it? It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And so today we're going to talk about celebrity-owned wines.
Yep.
There are a lot of them. The celebrity liquor space is just huge right now.
Everybody has them.
Everyone. The list can go on and on and on. We don't even need to talk about how many are out there. Most of them that I've tried are pretty terrible because they're not wine people. And they're not really, a lot of them are just like they slap a label on it. And it's just, not that great.
Do you want the dirty little secret about that?
Yes.
About why celebrity wines are terrible? Let's start there. So I dropped on you just before we started hitting the record button today that I purchased Snooki's wine because you and I love the Jersey Shore.
We do.
You're behind. I'm still more behind than you. I'm still going through the last season. So I'm working my way through. But I noticed that the episode I just watched, and again, it's from the last season. So this is like February, way back in February when it came out, that the girls had gone up to Santa Barbara wine country, which is an area I go all the time for wine tasting. So of course I was like super interested to see where they were going, where they were staying. And Snooki was there to talk about her new wine, Messy Mama, which at the time was being made by Summerland Wines, which is actually a really good winery. They've got a beautiful tasting room in Summerland, which is this little teeny tiny quaint town as you're driving up along the coast off the 101 freeway between LA and Santa Barbara. Before you get into Santa Barbara, Summerland, you blink and you miss it. But if you get off the freeway, they have a gorgeous tasting room. It's a cute little town. It's a great stop if you come to California for lunch and you can go taste wines there. And their wines are good. I'm not going to say they're the best ever, but they're also really drinkable and it's a fun stop. And they make their wines from Santa Barbara County. So I noticed that Snooki was going there. I went, oh my gosh, Messy Mama's from Summerland. That's going to actually be a decent celebrity wine because it's from a real wine producer.
I am curious how she found it because in this season, is that where they went to last season?
Last season, yeah. They went to Santa Barbara.
They were there tasting it.
Summerland. Mm-hmm.
And she liked it and probably said, I need to slap a label on this. Okay.
Well, she had already done Messy Mama and they were producing because they were putting labels on the wine bottles. So they were already connected. But I did notice on social media the last couple of weeks that she's been promoting a new launch of Messy Mama. And so I thought, I'm going to do this just to make Victoria laugh. I'm going to spend the $40. Really, I did it for you because I was like, I'm going to just try it.
So that's a good question. It's $40?
For 2 bottles.
Okay,
you can
so it's
only,
$20 a bottle.
Your minimum order is $2 or $2 bottles. You have to order at least 2.
Yeah, for shipping.
Because of the shipping.
Yeah,
shipping wine, FYI, is hard and it's pricey because you have to get the signature and all that. So my wine has not even arrived yet, but I ordered it literally for you for the podcast. I'll do a full review if you want. It's a good question. There's a white and a red. The white, I think, is a Chardonnay. Is that right? And then the red is, I think, a red blend.
Okay.
No, Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir.
Oh, okay.
So I looked and I was like, is this still being made by Summerland? It's not. She's getting it done now by a wine house. And so this is where this begins. A lot of celebrities who like wine and who just want to sell something as part of their merch, they go to these big companies that produce pretty mediocre at best wine. And then you customize a label. They're like custom crush facilities, essentially is what they call them. And they put labels on them and then allow celebrities to sell them themselves. And they probably do the fulfillment and the shipping and all that. And there are wineries that are set up just simply to do those custom crush projects. And so now Snooki, and I don't know if it's because they broke all the bottles or if they were a little too much for Summerland, maybe off brand, not quite classy enough. She's now doing wines out of Walla Walla, Washington. So we'll see if they're good. Washington wines are good, just like California wines, but I'd be interested. This one looks less known. As opposed to the Summerland version, which obviously has sold out.
This is interesting, and I'm not going to give anything away because I know you're behind on Jersey Shore. But this season, the current season of Jersey Shore, they go on a Messy Mama wine trip. So it's Snooki, Dina, Angelina, and JWoww.
That's what I'm talking about.
But they're out in California, and they land. I'll have to watch the episode again now.
They landed in LA and they drove up to Summerland. So what I think is because this was actually done, they're usually almost a year behind when they released
so then
Jersey
this is
Shore.
a recent change.
So the episode that aired, I think originally in February of 2023 was probably done because it was right as Vinny was starting Dancing with the Stars. So I'm going to say it was probably done in August of 2022. So she had the deal with Summerland in August of 2022. She probably sold all that out. And now the winery that she's working with is Knocking Point Wines, which is a custom crush facility where basically you design the label.
Okay. So Knocking Point is Stephen Amell, the actor.
That's interesting.
Who played the Green Arrow on the show Arrow on on CW. He and his buddy started Knocking Point.
So they have, I know what I ordered now. I totally lied to you about the Chardonnay and the Pinot. I ordered Rowdy Rosé and Raunchy Red.
Oh my God. The names.
So it's a red blend and a rosé. We'll see.
But but Knocking Point, because I used to follow Stephen Amell. Lewis and I used to watch Arrow on the CW all the time. It had The Flash in it and all the other superheroes and stuff. It was a great show. And that's what put Stephen Amell on the map.
I'm looking at it right now.
So
Andrew and Stephen,
he and his buddy Drew started Knocking Point Wine. They had a coffee subscription for a while as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so they had a coffee subscription for a while too, but I don't know. Apparently there are a lot of restrictions on shipping coffee as well as wine.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they ditched the coffee. But the Knocking Point wine, I've never tried it, but they have wine events and a lot of it is just to meet him, really.
Right.
But they do all kinds of events and tastings, and it seems like they've built the name up. So
Maybe
not
she's
surprised.
helping them. Yeah. And
I'm
so
not
no
surprised.
longer Summerland. So now she's with Knocking Point. So we'll see. So I'm awaiting my
really
Rowdy Rosé and Raunchy Red.
Now I'm extra intrigued to have you try it because I've always wondered if Knocking Point wine was any good. But I just didn't bother ordering it through the mail and everything. And in New Jersey,
funny when I think of Washington, I think of Pinot Noir. And
it's a light Pinot.
Yeah.
It's very light, like A to Z.
I don't normally think of rosé or the Rowdy Red blend, but we'll see.
Right.
We'll see how it is. I'm sure it's going to be fine. They
had, I think the first wine that Knocking Point released, I think it was called Two Dudes Rosé or something. It had a name with dudes in it. And dudes can drink rosé too was their whole thing. And naturally,
I endorse that.
Only women bought the bottles, but because Stephen Amell's kind of hot.
These two are pretty hot. I know. I was just looking at them. They're pretty hot. They're not bad looking. That's for sure.
Stephen Amell's definitely hot. So, and he's got a killer body. He has a wrestling show now called Heels.
Oh,
it's on A&E, I think.
Oh, they're doing a lot of wrestling shows on A&E now. Those documentaries, don't sleep on them. The wrestling documentaries are really good.
Yeah. So I'm very intrigued to hear your review of the Knocking Point / Snooki wine. I love it. All right, so let's get into some of our faves. My list, because it's, we're recording this right before Memorial Day weekend. We're kicking off the summer, and I love rosé in the month of May. That's just sort of my thing, right? It's the Beaujolais happen, right, in November.
Yep. And rosé is a summer. It's the summer season, baby. You know, spring and summer is rosé season. All day. Rosé all day.
Rosé all day, which is terrible rosé. Don't ever buy rosé all day.
Oh, no. That's actually, you're right.
Awful.
It's not good.
It's awful.
Very sweet.
That's based on, which is one of the funniest books I've ever read. What's her name? Babe Walker was this fictional girl. It's literally a hilarious book, but Babe Rosé and No Way Rosé, she got hooked up with, the guy on Instagram, the fat Jew.
No.
He's got, or the Fat Jewish is his name. And he's got like a man bun and he's just like goofy, like, but he's a gazillionaire. And so he ended up bottling that rosé with the two. It's a guy and a girl who wrote the book. So that's where No Way Rosé and All Day Rosé and like all that stuff. There's a whole line of it that comes in cans. You know,
I've seen the cans. Yeah. The cans are convenient if you're picnicking, but you got to have a decent wine inside the can.
I bought the bottle. I bought a bottle of it when it first came out, and it was selling out everywhere because the book had sold millions and millions of copies. So the wine was, and the Fat Jewish was the biggest thing on Instagram at the time. Mm-hmm. And so the wine sold out everywhere. And when I finally got a bottle of it, I was really disappointed.
I bet.
It is bitter and acidic and just tasted cheap. And
yuck. And it probably is all those things. Probably definitely
it was
cheap.
Bad. So, but I do love rosé. So my list is all rosé, and you have other celebrity wines that are not all in the rosé category. So let's kick it off. What's your first? I guess it's in no particular order, right? What do you like?
Yeah. So, so before we start, I think we have to give props to the most famous of all celebrity wines. Any guesses?
The most famous of all celebrity wines.
The one that kind of started it all, really, is
I would go with Coppola.
Yeah, that's the one. Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay.
Coppola is probably the most famous, most well-known, most widely available celebrity wine. So,
and you know, I've never had it. Is it any good?
They're very drinkable. They're very drinkable. I don't drink them a lot, but they are grocery store wines. They're very easy to find. They're pretty affordable. And definitely he's kind of the king of all celebrity wines. So Francis Ford Coppola wines, big one.
Do you know what is really good? I just remembered this. Sofia Coppola, his daughter.
Yeah, it has rosé.
I haven't had the rosé, but she has champagne in a can.
Oh,
and it's
you
delicious.
Would love that. Oh, that's so good.
It is
good tip.
So good. It's dry. Mm-hmm. It comes in like a tiny, maybe a 10-ounce can. Yeah. 8 to 10 ounces. It's small. It's one glass, maybe a little bit more than one. It is so good. Like literally, when I used to live in Manhattan, I would buy a 12-pack of them, and we would shotgun them on the deck. Like they're so good. they are so good. So if you ever come across Sofia Coppola, and it's called Champagne in a Can,
I'll have to find it.
It's really good. It is shockingly good for something
Coppola.
in a can. Yeah.
All right. So we have to pay tribute.
We start with the Coppolas.
The first one I have to tell you about is Zach Brown.
I'm taking notes like the last episode.
You know I love country music, right?
Yeah.
And I love the Zach Brown band.
Okay.
Zach Brown has a wine that is incredibly good, and it's because it's sourced from Napa, and it's incredibly affordable. I found it actually at my dad's girlfriend's restaurant. Restaurateurs have to find great bottles of wine that aren't too expensive, so they don't have to charge their customers $1 bazillion for a glass of wine. Sure. And she goes, "Have you tried this wine?" She brings it over to me. I started with the Sauvignon Blanc, which is a white. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is incredible." She's like, "It's Zach Brown's wine." And so I thought,
what's it called?
Are there more? His wine label is Z. Alexander Brown. So Z. Alexander Brown. Zach Brown wines are fabulous. They're called Uncaged. And he's got Sauvignon Blanc. He has Cabernet. He has a couple of Cabs, actually. And he has a red blend. I've tried 3 of them. I've tried the Sauvignon Blanc, the Cabernet, the red blend. They are all phenomenal. I particularly love the red blend and the Sauvignon Blanc. And for probably about 10 to 15 bucks, actually probably about $15 a bottle.
Wow.
They are a jam and deal. Great wine. You'll impress people and you'll be like, "Oh, it's Zach Brown's wine." So it's great because he sources from Napa, which a lot of the celebrity wines don't come from the nicer areas. So Z. Alexander Brown is a great place to start.
It's a good name too,
wines. Mm-hmm.
Right? It sounds
it's a cool label. They kind of have like a cool head on the label. You know, Zach Brown's very rocker-ish and
yeah. He's definitely like Southern rock for sure. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily even call him like country. He's sort of.
He kind of goes back and forth. I think Southern rock, country, just regular old rock and roll, and a lot of soul too. He does his concerts, just as an aside, are typically 3 hours long, and he is on the stage the entire time. He brings out the opening act. He comes out and plays with them. He is a fabulous performer and a really talented musician.
And apparently he's got a good nose for wine.
And good wines.
How about that? I would never have guessed that ever. That's amazing. See, this is why I love doing episodes like this with Jen. First of all, I forgot to even mention Jen is a sommelier. She went through all the testing and all that education. So that's why she knows so much. But it's also really fun. But you also find great stuff. Like, you're not saying like, oh, it's an $85 bottle of wine, you know, $15 for a bottle of wine that you said, tastes really good from Zach Brown. Like, that's a great find.
You want to find a good deal. Yeah. And because I know a couple of these wines that are good are pretty pricey. I think on your list you have John Legend. Is that right?
Yes.
Let's talk about John Legend because his cab is $95.
Okay. There's a little bit of the behind the scenes that you know about this, right? Mm-hmm. I believe his wine comes from Raymond Vineyards.
It does come from Raymond,
it's made by Raymond.
Part of the Jean-Charles Boisset collection, which is amazing. He's married to Gina Gallo, their wine royalty.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the Raymond, I've seen this numerous times, just a bottle of Raymond Red in Total Wine or wherever. And those are, I want to say they're like in the 30s or 40s, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe even more. The John Legend, I have not had any of his reds because they are expensive. And I was in when he first launched, I was in the club. So you'd have to pick a certain number of bottles, but then they'd always try to throw a red in. And I'm like, I don't want to spend $85 on a bottle of wine.
Cha-ching, it's expensive.
So I opted for the Rosé, and John Legend's, his label is called Love. It's LVE. There's no O. So his Love Rosé is my favorite rosé. It's really actually good. It was my favorite until this past week. There's something that took the lead.
Okay,
which is shocking. I can't wait to tell you. So, but his Love Rosé is delicious. It's $17.99. Now the prices I grabbed are from Total Wine. It might be a little more expensive if you're in your local. It might be $1 or $2 difference. Because Total Wine does so much volume. But the Love Rosé is delicious. $17.99. To me, his real standout is the sparkling rosé.
I haven't tried the sparkling rosé.
I've seen it anywhere from $19.99 at Total Wine up to like $24 in other liquor stores.
Still a good deal.
Yeah, it is phenomenal. If you like anything sparkling, it is so good. It has the perfect blend of, it's not sweet because I don't like sweet anything, especially in rosé. I don't want sweet rosé. That makes me gag.
They turn into sugar bombs and then you just get a headache.
Terrible. Yeah, it's gross. So, but this is extremely drinkable. I brought a couple bottles last summer over to my friend's house. We didn't even realize how fast they were gone. We were just sitting on the deck and just sipping the rosé. I'm like, oh my God, the 2 bottles are gone. It is phenomenal. I would highly recommend the LVE Love Rosé and the sparkling rosé for sure. And it's reasonably priced and it's delicious. So that's my first rosé.
I'll jump in on that on John Legend just for a second because he has a Chardonnay and a Cabernet that are both really good. The Chardonnay, I think I remember liking a little more. It's also cheaper. The Cabernet, you're going to find better Cabernets than the one that you're going to get from him. It's good. It's drinkable. It's not worth $95 or $85, whatever you're going to find it for.
Yeah.
The labels, however, on the Chard and the Cab are gorgeous. They are roses. They are laser cut. They are beautiful, beautiful labels. But I think the bargain, if you want to try the John Legend wines, definitely stick with the rosé, the sparkling rosé as you suggested, or the Chardonnay.
This Memorial Day weekend, it's the 3rd annual Healing Field of Honor sponsored by the Winchester Rotary Club and True North Group. Over 1,000 flags will fly in solemn formation at Winchester's Handley High School. Dedicate a flag to a loved one, a veteran, or local hero, and the flag is yours to keep. Visit the Field of Flags anytime Memorial Day weekend and attend the closing ceremony May 29th at 3 p.m. For details and flag purchases, go to RotaryClubOfWinchester.org. Seating is limited, so feel free to bring a chair.
Hi, my name is TJ, and I host a daily radio show. I have a bunch of friends that join me for it every day, and believe it or not, we all still see hope in humanity. Are you one of these people too? We want to hang out with you. Just search for The TJ Show on your favorite podcasting platform, or join us at thetjshow.com. We would love to have you being hopeful about humanity with us. Here's a quick sample of what the show sounds like. Hey, welcome to The TJ. As you can tell, you need to hear more of it. Search for The TJ Show, and we can't wait to meet you.
All right, so take us to your next on what's next on your list of your favorite
let me take you to my
celebs.
sad defunct list, because I was very, very sad to do a little research for this podcast, because one of my favorite celebrity wines is actually probably the favorite celebrity wine that I have is a wine called Ferguson Crest. And it was from
Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas.
Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas, yeah. And she had the most amazing Viognier. And I have loved this Viognier. I found it, didn't even know she made wine. But I was walking through a wine festival up in Santa Barbara a few years ago, walked up to a tent, it said Ferguson Crest. And I said, oh, what do you have? And they said Viognier. Viognier for me is my favorite white because I'm a red wine drinker. Viogniers are the red wine drinker's white, but they're either going to be really, really good or really, really bad. And this one was really, really good. And so I was like, oh, tell me about your winery. And they're like, oh, well, we're the Ferguson family and blah, blah. And they said, you know, Sarah, do you know Fergie? And I was like, the Duchess or the singer? And they're like, the singer, I'm her dad. I'm Peter. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, that's incredible. These wines are fabulous. This Viognier, stunning, maybe one of my top Viogniers ever. And so he was so appreciative of that. And he said, I have a real passion for wine. She helps me out, but this is my passion project.
Oh, I love that.
And I looked it up because I had not seen them at events. And I was like, I looked it up for this episode. He passed away last fall.
Oh, no.
And yeah, and I don't think he was that old. So Peter has passed. And so I was looking for the website still, and it looks like the website is no longer being paid for. So I have a feeling that maybe Ferguson Crest is out of business, which I hate telling you about because this is one. But if you see it, sometimes you'll see it on shelves somewhere. If you see Ferguson Crest, the Viognier is really fabulous. The other one that's now defunct, your husband, this one goes in for our producer, for Lewis. Tommy Lasorda, do you know, had wines. He had these incredible Italian wines. I don't love Pinot Grigio.
Yeah,
it's okay. To me, Pinot Grigio is like a little flavored water. His Pinot Grigio was one of the best Pinot Grigios I've ever had. And he had all of these fabulous varietals. Lasorda would bring, and they were priced right. They were it was $18 for the bottle of Pinot Grigio.
Were they from Italy?
He brought them in from Italy, and they were Lasorda wines. Wow. And so I thought, since we were talking about defunct celebrity wines, I would have to pay tribute to two of my favorites. And I do have to give a thumbs down award to a celebrity wine that you and I both have tried.
Okay.
Do you remember the Fresh Vine wine?
Yes.
That's
awful.
A project from Julianne Hough and Nina Dobrev. And this was a low sugar, low carb attempt at wine. And it was a failure.
It was terrible.
Sometimes we have to give you the good ones. Sometimes we have to give you the bad ones, but
it still exists. I follow
it does.
Nina
It's
Dobrev.
still up there.
I follow Julianne as well on Instagram, and they were just in a store, maybe like a Whole Foods or something, and they were out promoting the wine was on sale or something. But I remember they sent us, we were sent that, right? On the radio show that we did together. And I remember the red was horrific.
Like,
awful. I think they sent us a bottle of red and a bottle of white. I don't really like white wine. But the white wine, while not good by any means,
better than
the red. Yeah, it was better than the red. And
so all these celebrity wines are not always good. And that was one that I have to give the thumbs down to.
You know what I want to ask you about while we're on the celeb topic? Have you tried the Cameron Diaz one, Aveline?
No, I want to, because that's the same kind of concept, is that it's supposed to be organic, no sulfites.
Right.
I was thinking about maybe ordering a bottle. I would think that she would have a good product. I don't think she'd mess around with yucky tasting wine. Right.
And the reason that I ask is because when in doing, coming up with my list of since we're sticking with the celeb owned wines, Dumois is my favorite Instagram account to follow.
Yeah.
And she did last year for, I think BuzzFeed or something. She and a bunch of friends reviewed a ton of celebrity wines.
Oh, what
they gave Aveline, I'm assuming it's Aveline, right? That's how you say it. It's Avaline. They gave it the highest marks, except for one other one. We gotta
try it then. We have to order that because I've been looking at it.
I don't know if they have red. Because they reviewed the white, whatever the white one was. I don't know if she also has red, but I would assume they do.
There's a difference between wines that are organic and sulfite free. Those can still be good. The ones that they try to pull, I don't know if you can pull the sugar. The sugar occurs naturally when they're fermenting. So I think that was the problem with the fresh wines. I don't know how you pull the sugar, but you can definitely do organic. You can eliminate sulfites and you're still going to get a great wine.
Right. And typically if you're advertising something that's lower in sugar, it's just because it's got less alcohol.
Correct. Which is
what's
good.
The point?
Not part of the fun. No. How could we be a messy mama?
Who wants a bottle of wine that's like 8% alcohol? That's
exactly right.
You know what I mean? Like that's like not like, why did I even waste money on this? But yeah, so Aveline we'll put on our list. We'll put that on the list for sure.
One to try.
The second of the rosés that I do like is from Brangelina Chateau Miraval.
So good. Yep, this one's a winner.
Such a good rosé.
And it is a traditional French rosé as well.
Right from the chateau in France, in Miraval, France, where they had that chateau. I don't know who owns it now, but their divorce has been so ugly. It's been going on for 5 years. It's not even over yet. She apparently sold her shares in the wine business. Brad was supposed to have like the first chance to buy those, and it was a whole thing. So I don't know what the status of it is now. I would assume that there's still, I haven't had it since last year, so I would assume that it's still really good. But Miraval, it started out at about $26 a bottle. It was like $26, $27 a bottle. It's now at Total Wine for $18. So I'm not sure what that means.
More mass production or something like that.
If it means anything, I don't know. I haven't tried it at that price point. I will be trying it soon because that is definitely one that I always go back to. It is very similar, I will say, to the John Legend Rosé. Even though John Legend's rosé is made in California, it must have been sort of copied in that style.
Stylistically. I don't remember making that comparison. I remember I tried Miraval a couple of times, but it was at the Best Wines in the World. I went to this event last June, and it's Wine Spectator, I believe, or Southern Wine and Spirits, that puts together every wine that's gotten over 90 points across the globe. And they put them in the convention center in Vegas, and that
must be insane.
Oh my God. You can't drink them all. You have to spit.
Yeah.
And Miraval was still tasting good last June when I tried it. That's the last time I've had it.
Okay.
But it was still really, really lovely. And it's dry, it's fruity, but it's got a little
crisp.
Earth to it because of that style. And yes, you're right. It is crisp. It's clean. It's perfect. You don't need it with food. You can just drink it. It's a lovely, lovely rosé.
It is. Do you want me to give you my number one? Or what else do you have on your list?
Okay, so I'm going to give you my final two. Final two recommendations, the good ones. Okay, you ready? Casa du Metz. It's sort of a cheat because they are no longer a couple. They have uncoupled. But Emilio Estevez, remember Emilio?
Yeah, from the Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks. Emilio Estevez was coupled up with a woman named Sonia Majewski, and they opened up together a winery up in Santa Ynez, Santa Barbara County, in the Los Alamos area, which is super trendy. They now have what do they call a Michelin star restaurant there. It's a Western town, so everything looks very old Westy kind of stuff. But they have the cutest, coolest tasting room. Sonia, with Emilio, also opened up a beer tasting room right next door. So it's perfect. Like if you've got a husband or a boyfriend who's like, I don't want this wine stuff, he can go and do a beer tasting.
You send him into the other room.
Their wines are incredible. She does Rhone varietals that will knock your socks off.
Wow.
And the two that I would highly recommend, an honorable mention, the Rosé is phenomenal. You will love it.
And wait, what's the name of the label again?
It's called Casa du Metz. And the Rosé is incredible. Dumetz.
Oh, DUM. Okay.
ETZ. Yep. Casa du Metz.
Okay.
So the Rosé is phenomenal. One of my favorite reds is a Grenache. And the Grenache is absolutely incredible. I was just there a month ago, and she has 3 different types of Grenache that she does. I bought them all. And her price point is not crazy. Typically with a wine like this, you'd probably think you're paying $60, $70, $80. Her price point is around $30 to $40.
Wow.
It is so delicious. And then she also does a lot of those Rhone varietal whites. She does Marsanne, Roussanne, and Viognier. They are all fabulous. Now, Emilio has departed Casa du Metz, but I still count him as a founding member. So I count them as a celebrity wine, but it's really, really fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
And then
never
finally,
heard of it, but I love it.
This is another one you're never going to hear of because this is a very old, well, dead now celebrity. Do you know who Raymond Burr is?
Yeah, wasn't he like
Old
an
Hollywood.
old school actor? Like
he was Perry Mason.
Okay.
He was in everything.
Okay.
I would have never really paid attention to Raymond Burr, but my dad was a big fan. And I was up in Sonoma, and they're in the Dry Creek area, which has luscious, amazing, incredibly deep, beautiful Zinfandels. A lot of great reds come from there. And he said, we got to go to Raymond Burr's winery. And I'm like, why would we do that? Raymond Burr, little known fact, when he was an actor in Hollywood, all the women loved him. He was gay.
Oh.
And so he did not love all the women. But his partner, who was much younger, was carrying on the tradition of his winery. The most fun place, the guy comes out, he's wearing the shortest shorts. And he's like, I'm barbecuing hot dogs. Do you want to come in? And he like has us all come in. He's got hot dogs of all things at the winery, but he opens up this Zinfandel. I have never forgotten it, Victoria. It is so fantastic. I actually just purchased a bottle at Total Wine. The one that I just had and opened was the 2018 Zinfandel. It is a bold, beautiful red. They also have, and I remember them being good. I haven't tried them recently, but they've got Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc. They do ports, which I'm not really into, but they are the red specialists. If you love a delicious California, big, bold, fruity, jammy red, this is a great winery, even though he's now deceased.
And it's just called Raymond Burr?
Raymond Burr Winery. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And really delicious.
And I love that you can find it at Total Wine because there's one near me. So I love that that source. And what's the price point on these?
Let me see. I actually pulled them up. So the Zin, because I bought this quite a while ago, the Zin is 20. Oh my gosh. It's on sale right now for $25, originally $43.
Wow.
And the Cabernet Sauvignon for this quality, $52 is a fair price.
I'm thinking this is a great Father's Day gift for my dad. He loves a big California red.
And I'm showing you the label is so cool because it's his signature,
pretty.
Which is what was known. He was known for the Raymond Burr signature. It appeared on a lot of the things that he directed and produced. And if he's an old Hollywood fan,
yeah, both my parents are. That's great. I love that. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, you come up with the best stuff. I love it. All right.
I know. I knew it was kind of obscure, but
no, it's great. Okay. I wish my grandfather was still here. He would have been like, oh, I loved Raymond Burr.
Well, the funny thing is my grandmother was in love with Raymond Burr.
Really?
I don't think it's
I have to look him up. I don't know what he looked like.
He was a handsome guy, very, especially in the 50s and 60s. Yeah.
The strong, silent type in the 50s, right?
Exactly.
Like that was like the whole thing. Yeah.
That was what they wanted with the cool hair.
Nice. All right. So my final and the new ranking champion of rosés for me, especially, not even just celebrity, just rosés in general.
In general. Okay. This takes the cake.
The new ranking champion is Maison number 9. This rosé.
I know who makes this. Who is this that makes it?
I'm going to make you guess. It blew my socks off because the person who makes this is a celebrity in a world that you would never cross over into delicious rosé. I'll give you a hint. He is known for flaming hot Cheeto ads and Doritos, like flaming hot Dorito ads.
Man. I know
that's
what
he's known for.
Because I know I just saw it. I know, oh gosh, it's either a rapper.
Yep. You're in the right. Yeah. You're in the right area.
Help me out.
It's not Snoop.
Snoop has 19 crimes. Yeah,
something like that, right? I have not tried Snoop's wine. I don't know if it's any good because Martha, his good friend Martha, who's now blowing up Sports Illustrated,
I know
she has her own version of his line. She's got a bottle of Chardonnay or something. Mm-hmm. But no, Maison number 9 rosé is Post Malone.
Post Malone. There you go.
It is so freaking good. I have been hearing about it like a little bit here and there, but I've never seen it on a menu until last weekend. Actually, no, it was Mother's Day. On Mother's Day, after we take my parents out for dinner or lunch or whatever, we meaning my brother, his wife, Lewis, and me, the 4 of us go and drink where, we can drink in peace. And my mom isn't like, you don't need any more,
Nobody needs to drink more.
We go to a place, we live in New Jersey. So we go to Asbury Park, right? That's a sort of a hot spot around here. And sure enough, I'm looking through the rosés because it's like late afternoon. I didn't really want vodka. I didn't want a martini. I'm like, maybe some rosé will be really good. And as soon as I saw Maison number 9 on the list, the bartender tried to talk me out of it because he was like,
really?
I said, well, I like dry. Which one? They had 2 offerings. I didn't know the other one. He goes, oh, well, the other one's from, the other one is from California and everybody really loves it or whatever. I'm like, I don't know that I'm going to love rosé from California other than John Legend. So I'm like, I don't know. Maison number 9 is made in France.
Okay.
And it is in that same, probably old world style that like Chateau Miraval is. And it was only like, I don't know, $13 for the glass or something. It was so drinkable from the first sip. It was incredible. And then I went back to that Dumois list when she reviewed all the celebrity wine. She also ranked Maison number 9 as like her top 2.
Oh,
and
wow.
She described it as, she said, it's as smooth as a Rolls Royce on a smooth highway.
Oh, I love it.
And it is the smoothest drinking rosé that you could possibly have.
Is that all he has? Do you know in his line?
I think that's it. I haven't seen anything else. I think
that's really cool.
He just did one really, really good rosé. And it's $18.99 a bottle at Total Wine.
So that's a score. All right, so Maison number 9, right?
Yep, Maison number 9. And it doesn't have
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, and I don't think his name is even on the bottle. I think it's a very much like people looked into it and they're like, wow, Posty, that's what his fan. I'm a Posty fan. Posty did this. Like, this is so wild. I mean, he's literally the guy with the face tats on the Super Bowl commercials for Doritos.
He's also really nice to his fans, though, isn't he? Like, he's all like everybody loves him. That's really cool. I'm excited to try it. Maison number 9. I'm going to look for it.
And I have one final big thumbs down.
Ooh, a thumbs down one. Okay.
And this is going to be controversial. I'm just going to say it because everybody loves this wine and everybody thinks they have to love it. And no one's allowed to say anything negative about it. But I give 2 emphatic thumbs down to Whispering Angel. I think it is trash. Whispering
Who
Angel
does Whispering
Rosé,
Angel again?
I don't know, but it started in probably like 6 or 7 years ago. It started making the scene in Manhattan and then out on Fire Island. All my gay friends go to Fire Island and they have the giant magnums of Whispering Angel. And it's like it just became this marketing thing. It reminds me of like Santa Margarita Pinot Grigio back in like 1999.
Where it's just the thing. Exactly.
And it was marketing and it was terrible wine, but everyone drank it because you think you're supposed to. The vodka version of this for me, because I'm a vodka drinker, I hate Tito's, and Tito's has done the best marketing.
I love Tito's. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't do a Tito's martini and I don't like it with any lime juice in it. It changes the flavor. So in a pinch, I'll just drink it plain with club soda. But Whispering Angel, I think it tastes like acid. And I've had it in restaurants where it's $22 a glass, sometimes more. And it is just save your money, go after some Post Malone, go for the Chateau Miraval, go for John Legend. But Whispering Angel to me, that's a non-starter now. Yep.
I'm going with you. You're emphatic about it. I know your palate.
I would love for you to try
your palate.
Yeah, I would love for you to try it and just because to me, like when you sip a glass of rosé, or any kind of white wine. I don't really get the same thing from the reds. But when you take that first sip and you get that like almost like an afterburn.
Yeah.
That real acidic thing that kind of just lingers.
You don't want that.
That's what Whispering Angel is, but it's a whole bottle of it. And it's just like, okay, I can't.
Yeah, that means it's not balanced. When you hear a lot of wine snobs go, "Oh, what a nice balanced wine," it means that it goes down smoothly. It's not
Post Malone's
in
I'm
one
telling
direction.
You.
Yeah,
Post Malone is like
the problem.
The Maison number 9 is like if you could drink Velvet, that's what that is like. I gotta
try.
Good.
I am so excited now. You got me ready to go. Plus, it is rosé season. I mean, we're unofficially into summer, so I'm this weekend gonna do that, and I'll report back on that and on the Snooki wines.
I cannot wait for the next review. Yeah. Well, so we'll pick that up again in our next podcast episode. And if someone skips this one, they're going to be like, why are they talking about wine?
What are they talking about?
But yeah, now this is making me want to go out and buy some wine. But I have to find where Maison number 9 is. I haven't seen it yet at the local Total Wine, but that would probably be the place to find it. I don't know that it had a huge distribution. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's bigger in Europe because it's made in France. I don't know. Especially with the French name. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I am so excited to try your Zach Brown wine.
Do it. You're going to love it. It's a bargain. It's good. The red blend you'll love, especially if you're not a white wine drinker.
Yeah.
Very
and the
drinkable.
Raymond Burr. I don't know that I'd
So
be able
fun.
to find the Casa Dumets, but the Raymond Burr.
You'd be surprised. Casa Dumets, and it's a beautiful label, by the way. So her Grenache is pretty widely distributed now, so check it out. Look
awesome. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for all of your great tips, as always.
Thank you. Thank
I
you
love
guys.
this. We definitely have to do more of our wine episodes. I love it so much.
It's like happy hour.
It is. It is. Next time we need to be drinking
I
these
was going
wines
to
while
say,
we're doing
why are we
this.
not drinking?
We're
I'm drinking
sober.
water. We're so boring. Come on.
Yeah. Well, everybody have a fantastic, healthy, and happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. And wherever you're going, I hope you have good weather to kick off the summer weekend. Have some of the rosés and the wines that we recommended. And let us know what you like, what you don't like. Follow us on Instagram at BeautyPopPod. You can also hit us up on YouTube. We've got a fun YouTube channel. You can just search Beauty Pop Podcast and follow us there. Follow Jen at Jennifer Horn Radio. You can follow me at On Air Victoria, and we will talk to you guys next week. Thank you so much.